Let's see me. There we go. Now can you see me and hear me? If you can, let me know in the comments, because like every time it's a train wreck getting on this, getting both going. I don't know if I should keep talking if no one's hearing me or seeing me. Oh, perfect. Thank you, Lewis. Awesome, everyone. Thank you guys for coming and visiting. This is a weird one because it's like 5 o'clock at the end of the day. It's been a super busy day. And there's an incredibly violent and big fire, not super far from my neighborhood. My son's girlfriend had to evacuate, and it's super windy here in San Fernando Valley in LA. So this one's just off on its own. So if the internet goes out or whatever, that is what is happening. So we'll try and do this for an hour or so and see what happens. Hey, Andrew. Ben, lots of folks here. Awesome. So I was at Guitar Center Hollywood this morning doing a demo, which was fun for the Synergy Syn 20 IR, which I absolutely love that thing. It's, I think, maybe like, well, okay, I was going to say the best amp under $2,000, but I mean, there's lots of other things, like the Dirty Shirley Mini is under $2,000, and that's like my favorite amp. But that doesn't really do ballistic super metal. Like you can make the Syn 20 IR become an Ubershaw, or with the new Fortin stuff. That module is amazing. Or you could go super rootsy and use the Z-Rack or the Morgan and stuff. So, I mean, it's kind of no-brainer. It's such a good amp. You could carry it literally with your thumb. I had coffee and stuff. I'm like, can I do this? I carried it with my thumb. So if you're not on the Synergy platform, I super recommend it. I think it's great. And the price on that thing, I don't know if they've announced the price yet. Does anyone know if they've announced the price yet? Or I'm not sure I'm allowed to say it. It's low. Price is low, stupidly low. I'm psyched on that. So yeah, that was my morning, and then came back to this insane fire. It's just super wild. Yeah, nothing like playing guitar for Guitar Center employees. Like I just figure like I'll play an A, an E, and a G because I'll throw in a D for them too. All they do is listen to guitar players all day long. They don't want to listen to anyone just wanking away, right? I can't imagine they give a shit. They just want to hear the sound. So it's like, all right, here's some AC/DC style riffing. And now I'll do AC/DC style riffing on another module and another module. So yeah, that's what I was up to, and drank a lot of coffee this morning. Man, that Friedman announcement, the Jose, ooh, that's going to be interesting. I like what Dave is doing. He's not busting out like a new amp every 6 months. I like 2024 was the year of the JEL, I would say, right? It was the red year. And I think 2025 is going to be the year of the Jose for Friedman. I think that will do well. That's really exciting because I don't know. I guess, these things are always fogging up. Dave can always mod you a Jose. You could get a Marshall for like, let's say you're going to get an older Marshall, I don't know, $2,500, and then get it modded for $800 or $1,000 or something. It's probably going to be cheaper just to get the Friedman Jose. Sure, you could go to other people. I don't know if I trust other people. Like, I know, to me in my head, Dave is the Jose authority at this point. Maybe Marshall Authority too. There are other guys, but at least, sorry, I just got a fuzz in my eye. At least Jose stuff. Dave is the guy. Happy New Year, Andrew. If you guys haven't seen on Facebook, and I hope I pronounce your name right, Andrew Raharjo, I think it's just soft, right? Raharjo is building a tri-stereo chorus, where he built a tri-stereo chorus, and he's going to be selling them, I believe. And that thing sounded good, man. I thought you got it dialed in. Andrew really knows what's up. When my gear is broken, the stuff that no one wants to fix, Andrew opens it up and finds what's wrong with it and fixes it. Christopher Vella. Oh, thank you kindly for the super chat. Can I just push? Oh, technology. Look at this. How cool. Christopher, thank you so much. Yeah, it is crazy bad outside. Not only did my girlfriend's family have to evacuate, the dad they were putting stuff in their car and trying to make a trip to get that out. That got blocked because in Pacific Palisades over there's like a fire road, which is a tiny little road, and then the main road. That's it. Fire road was already on fire, and he got stuck on the main road, and they just had to abandon the car, which sucks. I mean, my son's buddy, he's already lost his house. It is crazy. Weird day. Weird day, guys. Here, this is Andrew. This is how you spell his name. And find a tri-stereo chorus if you're looking for one. Jay Busk. Hey, man. I saw your question on Tone Talk. Hey, guys. Welcome to Tone Talk. You're getting your super lead back from Dave tomorrow. That is cool. Have I ever played Jose? Nope. Been in the room with them while someone was playing, but I don't think can't remember. I don't believe I've ever plugged in. Yeah, it's funny because as I was leaving, the operations manager, he was setting up, they had this huge display of the little Sparks, Spark amp. It's about this big, digital, and they did a Steve Vai model, Steve Vai signature model. Personally, I don't know, man. I have a Spark. It's fine. It's fine. How good are you? Those things are just, they serve a purpose. So it's a better size, maybe, because it's even smaller. But I mean, you're not going to, as a Vai fan, I don't care. It's like, I don't feel like I'm going to become Steve Vai if I plug into a 3-inch speaker that has his new logo on it and stuff. So I don't know. But he did say, he's like, hey, I got to meet Steve Vai. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, jumping down. All right, look at this. Music Man versus Suhr guitar. Who wins? That's super tough. Let me think for a minute. They're almost priced the same now. Like I used to think Music Man guitars were not expensive, but I was looking at a Luke 4, 5, whatever the newest one was. It's expensive. It's legit. It's almost, I think it's Suhr prices, which good for them. I know that their goal is to have pay their employees living wage and stuff like that. So that's really cool. Okay, I kind of feel like Music Man and Suhr guitars have a similar thing. When they're great, they're great. When they're not great, they never sink below pretty dang good. That's my level of chart. There's God tier, super great, amazing, pretty dang good. You know, that's high level. They never sink below pretty dang good. But like I've had several Music Mans and several Suhrs, and I haven't had a great one of any of them, which is a bummer because they look cool. They all look cool. Even I have that Reb Beach. It's not technically a Reb Beach model, but it's the Reb Beach model made of Koa. I just sent it to my guitar tech to see if he could squeeze some mojo out of it. I don't know. I don't want to sell it. I want it to be great, but right now it's pretty dang good. You know what? I did get a chance to play Pete Thorne's Suhr, and that was great. And it could be just the model, like his signature model with the 2 humbuckers. I think is awesome. Mahogany, also kind of cool. I did like my Luke 3 dual humbucker for a while, but yeah, I don't know who wins. I think you're going to pay a little more for the Suhr. Okay, here's the deal. Music Man, I would buy a Music Man if I needed that signature, the signature guitar that they had. I mean, they got some great ones. Morse, Lukather, you know. And then Suhr, if I was going to buy like an HSS and wanted a great one, I would bet on that. A couple super chats. Thank you kindly. Let's see. How can I put this up here? Why isn't it? Do I need to get to it? I will figure this out, guys. I appreciate you bearing with me. Can I drag? Nope. All right. Well, there's Peter Urban. I will get to the other ones. Peter Urban says, that looks like it's from California. Thank you, bud. I super appreciate that. Be safe from the fire. Further to our early conversation, have you tried the Fractal X Load compared to the Suhr and Fryette? No, I haven't. I actually was considering reaching out to Fractal because I've bought stuff from them before. And then it's a weird thing to say, but I feel like I've gotten a little bored. It was good right away, like really good right away. Again, this is on the Michael scale of things. It was really good. Always, everything it did was really good. But it was like, gosh, I don't have to work or I don't have to tweak it, or it was just kind of like, all right, it does everything. And I found it a slightly like kind of boring in that regard at that time in my life. So I ended up selling. I've done it 3 times with Fractal stuff, but I feel like maybe I just didn't give it a chance. Fact of the matter is that, okay, so you've got real amps. We'll call it tube amps, you know, whether it's solid state or whatnot. There's digital amps that is algorithmic. For instance, like a plugin, most plugins like that Neural DSP make, and all of the Fractal stuff. And then there is that sort of capture-y stuff. The algorithmic stuff is always really good. It's like, yeah, man, that's great. But there's something about it that's always a little flat to me. And again, I haven't tried the latest Fractal stuff. So I know that dude is constantly tweaking. And I'll get to actually more to your question in a second. The capture-y stuff, I find more fun. There's just like more warts and ugly left into the sound, which is real. That said, I haven't tried the Fractal X Load. I've never seen one around. I like the Suhr a lot. I think I mentioned to you before that it's kind of round. It has this sort of frequency thing, and then the Fryette has this sort of frequency spectrum. I like the sound of the Red 7, I've heard, but I haven't tried the Fractal X Load. Sorry. I have this feeling just from the whispers in the wind that there will be more sort of load boxy things coming in 2025. Now, did those super chats just disappear? I don't want to miss them. That's very generous of you. So I'm just going to scan and find those first. Andrew, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Super sticker. Okay. If I grab this. Okay. Bogner Snorkeler. First, hello, Edward. Or Friedman JL, which do I buy if I play 70s to 90s rock? I truly don't know. I would love some insights. Okay, I can't. Hey, buddy. Okay, so, well, okay, there's, for starters, I'm friends with Reinhold, as you know. It's like we don't hang out and watch Felicity together or anything like that, but I'm very friendly with him. I could text him and stuff, and I'm friends with Dave, so I can't go one way or the other because at this point, to be honest, like I choose a lot of the amps emotionally. If, like, for instance, like that Syn 20 IR, I could be done with the Syn 20 IR, but emotionally, I also want to see a vintage Marshall behind me. I don't need it. I like seeing the Friedman brand. Bogner, when I was coming up, the coolest people for me didn't just play Marshalls. I was like, all right, everyone plays Marshall, whatever. If you had a Soldano or a Bogner, you were the coolest person. All the coolest people were like, yeah, Marshall's cool, Soldano or Bogner. I was like, yeah, those are my people. Outside of maybe Zach Wild and stuff like that. But my favorite Zach was Rack Zach. So, you know, whatever there. Okay, back to that is I love seeing the Bogner logo. It hits home like as if I'm a kid again. And the Jake 50 also does too. But there's something really special about the Bogner Snorkeler sound that is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. That said, the JL50 is probably more versatile with the 2 channels. The Plexi channel is absolutely awesome. I really love the 800 mode on the Jake. If all you did is play high gain, then the question would be, do you like your high gain to be super articulate and almost dry? Then I would say get the Jake. Super articulate, edgy, like you kind of better know how to play guitar. The Snorkeler is a little more forgiving. But if you're also like, well, I need the amp really to keep up with me and be tight and super aggressive, maybe the Snorkeler is a little too forgiving for that. So that's where I would go. And also, if you need it actual clean channel, the Snorkeler really doesn't do clean channel unless you roll back your volume and change to the lower gain channel. And even at that, it's not going to be a really nice clean channel. So I hope that helps. I know it's super hard to, I know, dude, I feel your pain. Stormlight Architect, hey, thank you very much. I super appreciate that. Spill the beans. Marshall and Synergy NAMM showing or any inside info? What I could say is I don't know if I'm allowed to say any inside info about that. So I could say that to you. But I don't know if we'll see anything like that at NAMM. I think what we're seeing from Synergy at NAMM is the Fortin, which you're going to love the Fortin. It is awesome. Yeah, it's got so many little switches and modes and stuff, but for the brutal high gain stuff, super awesome. I believe, hope they've shown this other one. I'm going to say there's a lower gain one because I'm not sure if I haven't seen social media of this other one. There's a lower gain one that is really nice sounding. And the Syn 20 IR, as I mentioned, is fantastic. And remember I don't know if I've said it. The Syn 20 IR, what's really special about it too is the clean channel is great. And someone mentioned back, it's $9.99. That's a stupid price for that. Even though, yeah, I know, and then you got to pay $400 for a module, but it's ridiculous. Really, really ridiculous. Yeah, I have to start paying attention to what I'm allowed to say and what I'm not allowed to say. I'm going to scan through again. Charles, the Steve Morse signature angle is way too nasally for my taste. I wonder if you're talking about the 100 or the 20. The 20 is dark. It is a dark. I wouldn't classify it as nasal, but I would say mid-rangey, low mid-rangey, dark amp. And I don't know why I loved it. I love it. I mean, it's over there. I bought it. I love it. Super cool. If I could have one amp, would that be it? Not in a million years. But when I plug in, like, this is just doing stuff for me. I love it. All right, I think I hit the super chats. I'm just trying to be respectful of that. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and just kind of scan through. Concerns would be EL84 with high gain. The Syn 20 IR is an EL34 based 20 watt amp. I would say if you are okay with like the Jakey Lee 20 or the JJ20, then you will be totally okay with the Syn 20 IR. Not that they're the same thing, but in the same way they deliver. There is a little bit of compression that I think feels kind of nice. I don't need to compete with like a double kick drum drummer, metal drummer, and a bass player that is just like grinding away and stuff. So I don't need it to cut in that way, but it's loud. Especially if you ran it through a 412, it's really loud. Today we ran it through a 212 Saltano cab, and it does it. I saw one of the guys put in earplugs. Yeah, Sean. Thanks. Yep. $9.99 and $400 for the modules. And the modules just keep getting better. What's up, my dude? Was Alan there? I'm not sure. I didn't really know everybody's name. I did see the dude that sold me my the Epiphone Dave Grohl. I bought it at the Sherman Oaks Guitar Center. He had kind of a recognizable look, and I guess I did too. And because he looked at me like, and I looked at him like, I know you sold me that Epiphone. So I was asking him about, like, is that going to reopen? And he said he hopes so. He thinks so. But what happened was a car hit another car. The second car hit the fire hydrant. The fire hydrant miraculously exactly aimed at the Guitar Center front door and blasted through it like bonkers. He said, he's like, I think it's like $6 million worth of damage. I thought it maybe just flooded the floor. He's like, no, it was a lot of damage, not to mention lost sales and displacing jobs and stuff like that. How does that car insurance work? Do they just show up with a rocket launcher and eviscerate the culprit? Session solos. Nice. Sorry, I'm dying. What about amps? Over $2,000. Head first Alta or Friedman BE. Okay, I have a question for you guys. I need to figure out how to do polls. That's my goal for this week. because I'm trying to do this weekly. Before I get to this question, so my goal here is I want to be able to do this weekly, and maybe the first one of each month bring in a guest and do it with a friend, because I think that would be fun, a lot more fun. Yeah, and then I started a Patreon because honestly, I was getting kind of lonely on YouTube. It's kind of a lonely experience. Like I make a video, you put it out, and it's like, all right, bye. And then it's so nice to get the comments to actually talk to people. So this is way, way more fun. And then the Patreon allows me to like kind of willy-nilly give files and post stuff over there, because I can't just post like a sort of half-assed like, oh, I got this pedal, let me do a quick A/B. I can't put it on YouTube because YouTube will destroy my channel. They will punish me for putting out a video that doesn't, perform. It literally says, it's like, sorry, you're underperforming. And then you start to see your numbers drop. And I'm trying to get my numbers to go up. So there'll be a lot of fun over there. All right. What about amps above $2,000? So are any of you concerned about, let's make it crazy, because a high-end Friedman's or something, not used. If you were to spend $4,000, $3,800 on an amp, all right, of kind of I know Headfirst is not an unknown brand and it's not a no-name brand, but let's say this new amp came out, and it's Wolverine amps, and it's amazing. Are you okay spending $3,800 on this amp? Are you that confident? You're like, yep, that's the amp. I'm in. Like when the diesel VH4 just came out ages ago, it was so good that people were okay dropping $4,000 on it because it was just so good. Like, that's the amp I'm going to be using for the next 20 years. Is that the case anymore? Is there anything that could come out that's brand new that you just go, okay, and then what if a brand new amp company doesn't survive and then they disappear? And you're like, oh, all right, well, I'm the only person with this amp. Would love to sell it. And now no one knows about them because they don't have new products coming out. And I'm not worried about fixing things. That's easy. But holding to the amp value is a little worrisome sometimes. So I don't know. I kind of feel like at this point, I'm maybe more like I'm sticking with brands that have a strong anchor. So I know Headfirst, the Alta is great. It is an awesome amp. The Friedman BE is also awesome. Maybe you could get the Alta cheaper because of like the things I was saying. So that's cool. But if I'm spending $4,000, I would go with the BE Deluxe, BE 100 Deluxe, because of that. Like, I feel like I would be able to get my money. It's safer putting there. If they're equally priced at a sweet deal, then I would say the Headfirst Alta is more of a Jose thing. It's got bite, but it's a little softer, a little easier on you. The BE 100 is a little more plexy, so it's not as forgiving. You got to dig into it a little more. Although the Deluxe has, some more tweakability than my older BE. So they're kind of close, but I would say, think about it with your pocketbook, but then the BE feels a little tighter to me. And the Alta is a little warmer, swirly. How's that? Fractal, you're going to get Jose? Nice. Very nice. Oh, is that the Dave Friedman of Friedman Amplification? What's up, dude? That was 25 minutes ago. Sorry. I'm working my way back. I hope I didn't talk shit on your amps, huh? Of course not. Dave's a man. Can you talk? Yeah, here you go. Can you talk Dave Friedman or Friedman into doing something like a Soldano preamp? Nope. I can't make Dave do anything. I could just say, hey man, wouldn't it be cool if you did this? You can find Michael Torn's video where he took the IRX and turned it into a rack preamp. That was pretty baller. Make the MLB t-shirt with an S style. All right. I have to see. There was a minute where the Teespring was doing a terrible job making t-shirts. Someone actually told me like they had it just a month and the thing was falling off. And I can't really help. I make 80 cents on the t-shirts. I like put them as cheap as possible. So it's like I would love to like help a refund or anything, but I don't know. Maybe I should stock some. That's awesome. I'm moving along. Am I even caught up in the time? No, I'm like 10 minutes back. I'm speeding through. I would say there's something similar there, and maybe it's the IRs, like how, because I mean the IR brings a lot to the party in terms of the overall vibe. There's something similar. That said, I use the Plini plugin all the time. I just pop it up and go like, yes, this is nice. I forget, I don't have to just read it. California surf punk metal. Hey, what mics are you using for heavy guitars now? I was using the Soyuz 1973. Am I still using that? So I've kind of shifted back to 57 with the 121. I was trying the 57 with a 421 for a while, but I wasn't getting enough like cushy low end out of it. And then when I was doing just a cappella guitar, the Sennheiser 421 was just too punchy, like awesome in a mix, but then on its own, it's like, ooh, that's awfully forward. The Royer 121 ribbon mic helps to soften the whole thing. I still have the Soyuz. It's very good. I was actually just thinking on my drive today, like, oh, I should try to get all three up on there. But the Soyuz is also excellent. I think the 57 works in a complementary fashion better with the Royer 121. If it's a combo, I always start with the Soyuz. It picks up a bigger sort of spectrum instead of being so laser focused. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't let me. I see there was a nice super chat that came in, and it doesn't let me click it. But there we go. Cycling Republic. Hello, Cycling Republic. I was just thinking about your name for a minute. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Is it better to have the new Syn 20 IR or the Syn 1 go stereo into an aux stomp? Any stereo recommendations using Synergy? I think, okay, so I think that the Syn 20 IR is just a great amp. So like you get to voice it any which way. So that's really cool to have the amp part of it. I think I have the Syn 2. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to keep the Syn 2. I might, just because I have sort of rack setups over there. But Syn 20 is nice. So if I took the Syn 1 and I went stereo into UA aux stomp. So like if you went, Syn 1 is mono. So if you go into effects and into aux stomp, or if I think you'd have to go into the aux stomp and then that turns it stereo and then you go into the effects, which is fine. I mean, that's kind of, if you're going into a DAW, I would just go straight into the DAW and put my IR in the DAW. If you're playing live and you need that there, that's pretty cool. Any stereo recommendations using Synergy? If you're using a power amp, I mean, the Friet or the Synergy power amps are good. And then one rack space that's really nice. Stereo. I'm thinking you're saying direct. So you're stuck either which way. So if you come out of a Syn 20 IR or a Syn 1, you still have to make the sound stereo. So yeah, you can come out of there and hit like even an SPX 90 or a TC 2290 and make it stereo and then just explore from there. I hope I answered your question. It's a bit wide open. So the answer would be, can you see that? Did it say it depends? What's up, Peter? What would I choose for pure sonic goodness and not about features? Synergy BE or the IRX pedal? I mean, they just kind of go into different places, right? Like, because they're really all about function at that point. They both sound great. I really like that the Synergy BE Deluxe module. It has a high gain and a low gain mode, and I really loved the low gain mode in particular. Just sounded really big and fat, and I liked running pedals into that. But like the IRX worked great for me, and I think out of all of them, I probably use that the most, perhaps. I just am a huge fan of the BE circuit. Like Dave's voicing on that is great. Knocked that out of the park. So anything after it, it's like, yeah, that's cool. Still love the BE, you know? Oh, so did you see that Dunlop announcement? They had a pedal as 2 sliders and it looks like 3 or 4 buttons. Everyone in the comments is like, oh, this is a Rockman. How did they know? Is that common knowledge? That it's a Rockman? There was a button for chorus. There was volume and input gain. I put it in Photoshop and like made it so I could read it. That's all I could get out of it. So it wouldn't be like the full-blown Rockman with the delay reverb sort of in there. It would be like the Rock Ace or whatever it was that you could turn the chorus off. I don't know if I need that in a pedal. It's cool. I love a Rockman, you know. Does it have the compression? Gotta. Without the compression, Rockman is like womp, 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 womp. Thinking about a custom T from Shabbat. That's on the 24 versus 25 scale. I'd say first and foremost, it depends on how picky you are. If it's going to be the guitar you play most of the time, you're like, I got this guitar and I play it all the time, then I think you're cool to go with the 24. Because jumping back and forth, I do miss notes because I'm mostly on the 25.5 scale. My Shabbats, I mean, all my guitars except the Les Pauls are typically the 25.5. I have one Shabbat that is that 24 3/4 scale length. And after a couple days, I get really used to it. But when I just jump over to it, I was a little off. Like I'm just off just a little bit sometimes. Feels great. And I do like the slightly shorter scale. Always sounds a little warmer and fatter, but it's just not as super tight string tension, which also kind of feels good. Helps me out. So I think the biggest thing is if you're going to be jumping back and forth with the main telly and then you'll have another telly, I would stick with the 25.5. Some talk of the blue Voodoo. I've never played the blue Voodoo. I'm just going to move right along. Thank you, Tones from the living room. Very nice of you. Oh, it says Rockman on it? How did I miss that? Oh, maybe there's another picture I see. Oh, geez, is this a thing? How do I feel about quantizing guitar riffs and solos? Like getting in an editing note for note? I mean, if you're making a record, you got to do what you got to do. But it's just reading that bums me. That's a bummer. Ugh. I do, on occasion, I have to nudge stuff back because I am only half Puerto Rican, and the white side really wants to lean forward and rush. What's up, Angus Clark? I love your Instagram. It's just so cool. You are so pure rock star. It's so awesome. You can't go back. Yep. KMA Endgame. I have not tried it. I don't know what that is. Oh. The Robert Baker. What guitar in your collection is currently on the chopping block? Currently, so I sold off 2 guitars that are great, and I love them. I sold the EVH special. That was a really important guitar for me. When I got it, I was like, it just kind of changed. I was like, you know what? I'm going to play however I want to play. And if it's harmonic dives and tapping, I'm just going to do it. Cool, not cool, I don't know. I'm not even going to think about that anymore. And so that it was because I got that guitar. I got it through Dave. So that was really important. But then it was a little like bitey in standard tuning or even down a half step. So I just didn't really use it much. But I got some cool tracks on that. Like I remember on the Steve Stevens Friedman head, that sounded great. So I got rid of that, and I'm happy it went to someone who's super excited about it. And also my Luxtone, which I've had for 15 years plus. And it's a phenomenal guitar, and Luxtone makes great guitars. But I just wasn't using it because both of those necks I loved, and I put what I loved about those into my Shabbats. So I don't have those anymore because I want a Murphy Lab SG. So what's on the chopping block is also my 74 Gibson Les Paul. I'm just on the fence, but it's on the chopping block. I don't know if I'm a Les Paul custom guy. I feel like I like what the maple does to the top, or maybe the less heavy mass of the standards versus the customs. or maybe not ebony fretboard. Whatever the tone changes happen, there's a sound in the customs that's darker that I prefer the standard. But I think I'm just going to do that SG. Goo goo gaga. So you're talking about the ToneX software or the CS? What does CS stand for? I've had zero problems loading IRs. You might want to try taking the IR if you have like an audio editor or Pro Tools or something, and just copy the IR, like have it, save it, and then retruncate it. It's a lot of work. See if that loads over, because maybe the original file was not in a proper format, you know? Sex B. Yeah, back to the Blue Voodoos. I know Marty Friedman was in a magazine with them, but how many times have we seen guys, especially he was in the era of people standing in front of amps that they just like did not use. Zach Wilde in front of that Ampeg Lee Jackson amp. Like, when did he ever use that? I don't even know if Paul Gilbert really used that amp. He probably used an Ampeg like V4 or something, but not that one. So I don't know. Did Marty really use the Blue Voodoo? Maybe. I use Tune Tracks Superior drums, but it's basically Easy Drummer also. I have a bunch of their packs. Most of their drum packs are like, well, that was pretty good. Like, I hear the demo and I'm like, oh, cool, this is recorded at XYZ studio by this player. This is the one. And then I get it, I'm like, oh, it's okay. It's fine. Superior had one that was done by Bob Rock that I used for a while. That had some cool stuff, but man, it's heavy-handed. Really great for the sort of slow Metallica, just the hugest kick drum and stuff. That was fun. I think it's called Made of Metal. That's the expansion pack I like, and it doesn't sound like particularly metal. It's just tight, and especially on the guitar demos, I'm trying not to make the drums humongous. I want them to be there and add some vibe, but just not like I want them out of the way. So I will also use Mixwave. The guy that makes those is a really great like heavy mixer. And I've used the Nolly Get Good drums. For some ridiculous reason, Nolly Get Good drums have remapped the drum kit to be not like everyone else in the world. They have their own stupid map. I'm so mad at that. So I don't use that much because it's annoying. And yeah, there's a couple others that I use, and I'll bring in samples and stuff like that. But honestly, the Tune Track Superior drums or Easy Drummer, they have a lot of variety, and the cymbals and the hi-hat sound pretty natural and stuff. So I'll go to that often. Or the Mixwave. I've been liking the Mixwave stuff a lot. Yeah, that's the 71 Super Lead, which I've just decided to myself, I'm just going to call it a Plexi from now on. It's not technically a Plexi, but I feel pretentious saying, is this 71 Super Lead? When I could just say like, yeah, it's a Plexi, right? You just cut straight to the the heart of it. It's a crate. Of course it's a. Oh, nice. Hi, Reed. I hope you love your links. I just saw at Angel City Guitars, which is a local guitar store. Maybe not now because that's real close to the fire stuff. Yeah. Tim Pierce and Rhett Scholl are doing like a little Shabbat thing over there. Didn't ask me to come, sadly. Oh, I accidentally clicked, but oh, you love it so far. Great. Fantastic. I have a couple. I have a early, or I don't know, I can't remember. I have a 60s Princeton, which I've had for ages, that I love. I would never get rid of that. I also have the Friedman BE 100. No matter what other Friedman comes in, that one will always be with me, and it sounds awesome. It's just like a benchmark. You go like, if I'm ever like, I don't even know what good sounds like anymore, I just put that up and go, oh, okay, it's that. That's what good sounds like. So those are two. I would like to say my 90s Soldano, early 90s Soldano, but I don't know. I'd sooner get rid of that than the Friedman, to be honest. What else is there? I think those are the two that are really kind of. I thought about selling the Marshall too, just because it's a pain, because it's 100 watts. But then I plug it in and go, oh, it does sound pretty awesome. So not today. SG, yeah. I would love to get an Access. I do look at the Music Man's. That would be cool. Is the 74 the same that Randy had? That's not helping me get rid of it. Do I need an SG? Yes, I do. Do you still have all your Friedman guitars? I was going through Friedman guitar. I went through a bunch of them to find. It was right in the middle of a very long guitar journey where I'm kind of coming out of the guitar journey. I know what I love now, so I'm very happy with my guitars, except I need that SG. The black Friedman Cali is tops. That is a rockin' guitar. It sounds great. That's a keeper forever. The blue Telly, it kind of sounds like it's like the Telly Deluxe with two humbuckers. It has like a hollow body thing to it. So it's kind of specific, but I do have that. Those were both Grover Jackson made. Oh, and I have the original red, like it's number 6 or something. Very early, one of the first run red dual P90s. I don't play that much because I don't know. I keep buying P90 guitars, but I don't really love P90s themselves. Waiting for someone to make a humbucker that fits in a P90 slot. Yeah, Robert Baker. I think the standards is kind of where it's at. Have I tried a Splon quick rod? Yes, I've tried a couple Splons. They were all really good. I would say in that kind of head first sort of zone, that is really, really good. Is Splon still around making amps? I haven't seen any. Well, I haven't looked, but I'm not 100% sure. I'll talk a little bit about it. Let me see if I could think of anything. Well, okay, so I was producing pop music and writing songs and stuff like that, and I was like, I'm gonna lose my mind. I gotta stop doing this. And John's road manager was the road manager, or is the manager of a couple bands we were working with, and I was just chatting with him and telling him like I gotta do something else and stuff. And he's like, well, let me introduce you to John. So like 2 years later, this opportunity came up where the planets aligned. John was doing a Japanese tour. I just found in a magazine. Do I have the magazines here? Where did I put those magazines? I just found the little tour pamphlet, which I was so psyched about because no pun intended, which, oh, hang on. I think they're right here. Everyone was sick during the holidays in my family twice. It was the longest holiday run ever. So I was like, I'm going to the garage and pulling out some vintage magazines. Look at this. Jimmy Bryant. Where is it? Not in that one. Nope. Not in that one. Not in that one. I don't know. This one's new. Ah, here it is. This was what we did. 2004. These were the dates. And it was Sykes, Marco Mendoza, Tommy Aldridge, and Derek Shrinian. So they had a keyboard player. And the keyboard player, they had the rehearsal set up, you know, back in the days, really nice, big rehearsal studio. The keyboard player freaked out because he was just in over his head. He's like, it's too hard, too much material to learn. And he just freaked out, I guess, playing with Sykes and Tommy Aldridge and having to really nail it. So he just walked. He left like on the first day of rehearsals, and they were like, oh, this is terrible. We're in big trouble. We're already set to leave. And so I think the manager suggested we'll go to Derek. He's brilliant. He played for Dream Theater. He could do it. And I think they worked out a deal. So John played on Derek's album. Derek played on and went on tour and played with John. And he learned that stuff like in a day. Probably already knew most of the songs, you know, which made it a little easier. And they're not like super keyboard heavy. So yeah, when I went in and there was no keyboard player the first day, and it was like Easter. Yeah, it sucked. I had to like go in and set up on Easter. I was coming in to record it, and I was going to mix it as a live album. And when I went in, then they had trouble with, I was maybe going to also be the guitar tech, and thank God I wasn't. I thought I could do it. But the first day in Japan, the rental cabinet he's like, something's wrong. And the tech, before John got a chance to listen to it, he opened it up and realized the speakers were out of phase, which John would have lost his mind. Because I know he would have lost his mind because I set up an SM57. There was a regular SM57, but I wanted a backup on his amp just in case, like, you know, someone kicks it and the tones like crappy. So I put a backup mic. I'm like, I'm going to use a 421, Sennheiser 421. And when he walked out, he was like, hey, who put this fucking mic on my cab? Guess he hates 421s with a passion. And I was like, it's just a backup mic. You know, you'll never hear it, but I'm going to remove that mic and we're going to put a second 57 on there for you. Yeah, he always would come in hot. And then I guess, you know, it's just one of those things. Come in super hot. And if you rise to the occasion, he'll out hot you. But if you don't, then he comes back down. And he was like always quite a gentleman there. Yeah. I don't know. I'll talk more about it. I'm a little brain dead today because it's the end of a long day. On one of the morning ones, I'll try and think of some stuff. But yeah, I was super psyched to find that little the Blue Murder Tour dealio. If you happen to demo the new 90s rectifier, you have to do the tones we've all been wanting. I hadn't even thought of that. Dude, really great idea. That is great. Great idea. No, I'm hoping to, you know. I've gone through my dual rectifier phase. It's a really important amp to the guitar album sound. I mean, had a good run, a real good run. And then I would say, who's that? I would say that the Diesel kind of stole its thunder there in the aughts. Dual rectifier, pure 90s into the 2000s, and then maybe the Diesel came at that point. And maybe people are just like, you know, after you use something for 10 years, you're like, I'll try something else. It's funny how what I want to try, which I never did when I had a dual rectifier because I didn't have 2 amps, is it's funny how many people use the dual rectifier as a layering amp or as like a, you know, 2 amps at the same time, because it really, I think, just fills in all the other frequencies. So that would be kind of fun to try. Give me 2 seconds. I just got to text someone real quick. I'm on a live stream. Call you in a bit. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm hoping to get a recto to try. No guarantees. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is another one of the, or is this the one I mentioned? There's Made of Metal. That's a good one. And then there's the one with Tempesta, which is really good. Drum Superior Tempesta. That is the Metal Machine. I like that, the sound of that too. I've always liked John Tempesta's drumming, and the sound of his drums are cool. So those were my 2 favorite because they sound modern and quite good. Did he? I'm gonna have to look. I don't remember seeing that in any, but all right. And I got like 10 more minutes and then I gotta bail. Any experience using the color box? No, I haven't. I tried to get one and they were all sold out in this holiday thing. So I am not sure. Yeah. So the cool thing about Easy Drummer and Superior is inside the app, there are these MIDI files and stuff. So you could say, okay, I want it rock. I want it maybe around 120 BPM. And then you just kind of go, yeah, listen to that. No, no, no. Oh, this one might work. And then you drag it out of the plugin onto your DAW into the page. Cool. And then what I do is I go through a bunch and I'll just drag anything close, and then I'll start to chop them up and then edit them and change them around. But if you're going for drum fills, you could spend all day just like do 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 no do 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 blum blum blum. Yeah. At some point, you're just like, I don't know what I'm listening for anymore. Did I sell my Friedman T style guitar with Tom Anderson pickups? Yeah, that was that was a while ago. That was the two-tone sunburst kind of Andy Summers, Keith kind of vibe. It was a nice guitar though. I just, like I said, I was in a journey. 71 super lead. All right, scooching forward here. Jeff, hey, loving the JL 50 that you made me buy. Good. Said before, I feel like maybe the 50 is the sweet spot in those. The 100's killer, but like I said, I feel like the Jake is very articulate, and the 50 kind of softens it a smidge. It's still articulate, but for someone like me, that's like, oof, that helps a bit. When will my album? So I finished an album. I have it on my website as like a pre-release thing. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. What I want to do is there's a product I'm trying to get made. And if I could get the product made and then maybe I could launch the album at the same time and move around, it's really hard to like work out timings on things. Cause even going back and learning my own songs, like I don't have time to do that. I got to do a new song. And then not to mention my work, you know. Robert Baker. Yeah, those Friedman Callies, that Robert and I, man, we spent like, I guess it was like 2 or 3 months just waiting for our custom guitars to come. That was a really fun time. We both ordered Friedman's at the guitars at the same time. Oh, what? Death Ray. Thank you, man. A guy in the UK makes a plug and play fix for the JMP encoder problem. JMP encoder fix. Can I just copy that? No, I can't. JMP1 encoder fix. Oh man, I hope encoder mod. That'd be great. So what he's talking about is the Marshall JMP1 preamp, which is good preamp, sounds good. Has one knob, right? It's got a bunch of buttons and one encoder. So if you want to change the bass, you go bass, knob, treble, knob. And it gets used so much, and it's probably a cheap encoder that they just burned out. So it's really hard to find one that's still working properly. Mine kind of works. So I'll go bass and I'll go and then nothing, and then jump 3, and then I could go back 2. And so I could get there, but I would never use it in a situation that people were watching, you know, because you could look stupid. So if someone makes an easy fix to that, that would be super cool. I have that search saved. I'm going to do some homework tonight, and I will get it, and I'll make a little video on it if it works or not. That would be great. Oh, really? DiMarzio makes a humbucker that fits in the P90 slot? Yes. Okay. So yeah, I also, so every time I use that red Friedman with the P90s on the track, it's like, yeah, that's good. That's awesome. I can't remember what they're in there. I think they might be Motor City pickups. And I put in at one point noiseless. Got a good one, like a high-end one, and it just didn't have that. I missed the sparkle, so I ended up going back to the non-noiseless. And they're a little noisy, especially in like a room like this. So that was the other thing why I don't use it too much, because it's noisy. But there are times where that thing just sounds real good. Thank you. Thank you much. Yeah, that was we'll talk more about that for sure. Yeah, Derek's great, and he's gotten better. And honestly, I feel like I'm terrible with names, but the Dream Theater record he was on is one of my favorite ones. The early stuff with Kevin on keyboards is definitely my favorite. Thought he wrote good songs, wrote catchy parts, played great, and didn't go a little squirrely out of the stratosphere. And then Derek brought something really cool also. And now sometimes it's just, I mean, look, they're 30 years and trying to impress people. It's hard. I think they're like, all right, let's make it more crazy. Did I ever try some diesel stuff? Yep. I just did a DHX video in the last couple of weeks. It's awesome. And I used to own a VH4. Love the VH4. I use the VH4 so much. And then I burned out. Like, I used it for like 8 years so much. I was like, and then this is the era I heard the Friedman BE 100 and was like, oh, that. I sold my VH4 and got the Friedman BE 100, which, very happy to have done. It's great. But I do love the VH4, especially. VHX is great too. Still have the CAE. Yes. In a moment of weakness, I sold it, but I sold it to Michael Torin. So, no. How did it go? No, I sold it to another guy. Michael Torin got a white CAE preamp, and then with blessings, I think I bought Michael's, traded the white one to the other guy, and then got the purple one back. And really, it's because I just love seeing it, because it was in Lukather's rack and Landau's rack. So now I would never that's something I was like, duh, never get rid of it. It's just like, it's like seeing a Marshall behind me. It just makes me happy. Oh man, thank you. Thank you so much. Billy on bass. Anytime I see the name Billy, I immediately think of the Predator with Schwarzenegger going, Billy! Oh, and Ray Luzier on drums. Did I mention a Billy on bass? Which Billy could that be? Darren's a really cool player. Hello again, Peter. How do you feel about the difference between a really good IR and an amp mic with in an isolated room? Listening to both studio monitors of headphones. Yeah, my brain's starting to go. I can't read anymore. Strong preference. Okay, well, I love IRs. They've changed the world for me. I'm very happy with my IRs. I've got them super dialed in to exactly what I'm looking for. That said, I'll occasionally still mic up the cab here. It sucks miking a cab when you're next to it. It's so loud. I can only get to about 2, and that's crazy loud. So I've been considering creating some sort of ISO situation in the garage, but you need the space. You can't just make the smallest possible room. I've done that in every iteration. If you make a tiny room and there's not enough air, it's like the frequencies fold back on themselves. So like if it's in a closet where it's just enough space for the mic and then there's a wall and you're just like, I would take an IR easily. If you have a little more space than that, then the mic'd cab always sounds better, to be totally frank. It always sounds, when at its best, a mic'd cab sounds better. But an IR is so consistent, it's always, back to Michael's scale, it's always pretty dang good. But a mic'd cab has the potential to be freaking awesome. Freaking awesome is a very high level on the Michael scale. You got a tube man. Nice. Yeah, it's really good. Really good. Awesome. All right, let's wrapping it up. Thought I saw a Friat power station on the floor in one video. Is there a technical reason for that? Keeping it away from the amps? No, yeah, it's on the floor. It's right here in a rack. There's for two reasons. One is I switch from 1/4 inch to XLR sometimes, depending on where I'm plugging it in. So I want to have access to that. It doesn't sit quite like in a cool way on top of like a Marshall. It's too long, so then it'll be like sitting up in a weird way. And then some amps it's too wide, so it'll be on its side. And I can't put it on the bottom because it looks a little stupid with Marshall sitting on top of it. So if it's a little 20-watt amp, then I'll put it on top of it and it looks totally good. But it's almost just cosmetic, really. It looks cool having an amp sitting on top of a cab. Live to play guitar in Canada. Thank you, man. That is very generous of you. What boost would you use for a Marshall Plex 20 SV, Boss G7 EQ, or Exotic Super Clean Boost? I haven't tried those little, the very small mini Exotic Super Clean Boost. I have a RC booster from them, which is awesome. And what would I use? I would probably think like if it's going to be an always on, the Exotic, and if you're doing something like solo boosty or like something a little more customized, I would go with the G7. I have several boosts that I have sitting around. Friedman Buxom boost is always around. The MXR, what's that called? Boosty Boost is always around, like the custom electronics one, which is really clean, and then the other micro amp, that's always around. The KSR one is around because that does a cool thing too. But and my Boss EQ and the Exotic. The Exotic, the tonality of it's really sweet. If it's, I'm guessing it's going to be similar. There tends to be a similarity in manufacturers. So I would say, yeah, if it's always on or a sweet thing, I would go with the Exotic. And then if you're going, well, you got all those customizable options on the Boss. What on earth does this mean? How low is too low when doing a bat dive? I don't know. I guess too low is when you hit the ground, right? Yes, Michael, that would be cool. I don't know. I'm really curious to see if a lot of companies sort of take take notice. I think the X88 IR did quite well. I don't know if it did better than they expected or better or worse, but I think it did pretty well. Seemed happy, and so that's a good sign. That's great. It's back to that question of like, how many preamps do people need? The answer is 3 at least. 3 channel 2-space rack preamps. How to bias an EL34 amp? Yeah, it's really straightforward. Wrap it up, send it to Dave Friedman, and then he sends it back. No, I actually have zero idea. I never bias anything. I'm too scared. Not that I'm scared. I don't know. If something broken or doesn't sound good, I just whine and take it to Dave. It's a little easier to do it in the rack because it still ventilates nicely and stuff. So I don't know. All right, gang. Let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for being here. That's super cool. Trying to get better at this. I got things on the screen today, so that's good. All right, last thing. Tell me about the GK preamp, Galen Kruger single channel. It's basically a preamp version of that 250 amp, that tiny little hideous looking. Here, I'm gonna tell you the exact numbers. Galen Kruger GK 250 ML. Yeah. Boy, what a hideous looking amp that thing is. But it's 100 watts, crazy loud. Kind of, I can't even say it's good sounding. It's like a laser beam to the face. It's really lasery, but there's something cool about it. And especially if you get the compression and the chorus and stuff going, it's pretty rad. So then they made a really full-fledged preamp that Lifeson used for a while. And it's sort of Rockman related. It's solid state, I believe. And I think Iron Maiden used it for a while on there was one album that they used it. And it sounds super Iron Maiden-y. The cleans sound super Alex Lifeson-y, and the distortion sounds super Iron Maiden-y, and it's very distorty. It has a lot of gain. I just haven't gotten around to doing a demo of that yet. So it's been. I still have a couple amps I need to get through too that are just for fun. Like the Nailer is sitting over there. That's Mike Torn's Nailer. Yeah. So and then there's endless preamps to get through. Oh, thank you. Seventh Son is the Iron Maiden album that they used that preamp on. And it sounds exactly like it. It's really good. I think I made a Kemper and a Tonex pack of that. And it went straight across. Somewhere in time. Yeah. Okay. It's Somewhere in Time. Definitely. It's that sound. So they because the solid state stuff just translates really well. I guess maybe it's less harmonically rich or unpredictable. So it sounds really, really good. Like twice if you're ignoring my MXR Rockman posts. No, I actually just don't know anything about it. I saw the same thing everyone else did. I was surprised. Dunlop doesn't know who I am, so maybe one day. One day Boston Dunlop will know who I am. Perfecto. Hey, man. Nice of you to say hello. Hello. All right, gang. It would be Paul Gilbert. I won't even say why, just Paul Gilbert. And have I used Magic Stomp No, but yes, I have heard that. I have heard that. I think it's time for Yamaha to come out with some pedals. They have missed the boat. I mean, they do. It's like called Line 6, right? That's why they haven't done it. But Line 6 should put out Yamaha replica pedals. The way that Boss did the Roland delay, the 3000 delay and the EVH delay, Line 6 should put out Yamaha. They don't have to do a lot because there aren't that many like iconically Yamaha products that people would froth over. But an SPX 90, 2 SPX 90s in a pedal would be dope. Word. I leave you with that. All right, gang. I super appreciate it. Thank you for hanging out. Next week, it'll be Tuesday again, but it'll be 10 a.m. unless some crazy thing happens again. And I'm sorry for the false alarm that I posted, but I appreciate everyone coming. That's so rad. Yeah, until next week. That pedal exists, FX40. All right, I got to do some homework. I don't think it exists in the way that I want it to exist. All right, before I go, Yamaha FX40. That's a Wave Runner. I don't see a pedal named FX40. Pedal? I see nothing. Nope. Fake news. All right, gang. Thank you. See you later. Peace out.